What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for December 13th, 2021. 3.16 is on the PTU, but it's missing literally like all of its features. Jumptown 2 could be good, but it's missing the mark, and the Odyssey isn't as good as we thought. All that and more on today's Week in Review. And as always, if this is your first week in review, this is where I take all of the official Star Citizen news, put it into one video, throw my opinions in there as well. I also live stream on Twitch every day but Monday so I can get this video out to you guys, starting at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/SaltEMike. I also have a React channel. Make sure you guys check that out if you haven't yet. Get that all out of the way because we have a lot to get through. Patch notes updates. 3.16 is on the PTU. Not only is it on the PTU, but within one day, it went from Evo to Wave 1 PTU to open to everybody. And the patch notes entail this. First thing is Grav Lev. It's in. It needs a lot of tweaking, and we'll talk more about that later in the video, in the video updates section, actually. Atmo ship bounties. For me, this is huge. I've been talking a lot about something called planetary nav mesh for a while. Now, if I understand everything correctly, that was required to make this happen. So then this is our first look at it, and it's our first look of nav meshes on a procedural planet, I believe. Now, this doesn't work at all in the current patch. Basically, the bounty doesn't spawn, so you can't complete the missions, but its friends do, so you can kind of see what bounties might look like on a planetary surface, I guess. But it is a major first step to have planets have some life. Law system changes. Defense of another. This one's the biggest one, I think. So if you break the friendly fire threshold, you will turn red for a period of time, which is not listed. This will allow, like, party members or your friends that are around you or any other lawful players to freely attack that player who caused harm to someone else. And yeah, so it's good. It's like an aggressive, basically an aggressive action will allow other players to have aggressive actions on you without being penalized. They removed a crime, the vehicular one, because it was only really here to create the above scenario. If you are a criminal, you will break friendly fire rules faster. If you fire a locked missile at somebody, you break the friendly fire threshold, and you will be now hostile to people for that period of time. They also didn't fix the underground facilities, so when bunker missions fail, you can abandon them now and have no penalty because they haven't fixed it yet. Now, a note on that, Luke Presley did message me, and they hope that they might have this stuff done. He was in our Twitch chat, and we'll see. They might have these things done for 3.16, but we don't know. Basically, I've been doing a lot of these and running through the scenarios to try and figure out with them what the problem is, and they may have an idea, so we'll have to see. Then it comes down to the big question. Where is everything else? Where's laser trip mines? Where are mining gadgets? Where are derelict spaceships? Where's the Area 18 hospital? What is going on? This has never happened. This has never happened before. Committed updates, and they aren't in a Wave 1 patch. They aren't in Evo. They aren't in the open PTU. It's literally open to everyone. What is going on? Like, we've had discussions in our Discord. People are freaking out. Nobody knows what's happening, and it's the weekend. So communication isn't expected on a Sunday. So we'll have to find out maybe what happens tomorrow on Monday. I am recording this in the evening because things have just been a little bit crazy at work when trying to get this video out. So we'll have to see. Feedback threads. Jumptown 2. So I'm just going to give my feedback on this. I think they totally missed the point of Jumptown. It was all about going to a place, risking a ton of money for a great reward. That risk was removed. It's now just the time it takes to get there and some FPS weapons. Each box is worth 7,200 credits, but the time investment doesn't really match the rest of the missions. You can make way more doing bounties or other missions in the game, cargo hauling, mining. It's just faster and better. Check out the feedback thread. I think it's really worth checking out. There's a ton of interesting thoughts there, and you can provide your own. There's also a feedback thread on the Grav Lev, which is, kind of still in progress, it feels like, and we'll have to see, so feel free to give your feedback there. Then moving on to video updates, we had an Inside Star Citizen, and they started out with the Grav Lev featurette, and it's pretty obvious that their intentions here are to improve the experience, but in what way?
So this quarter, we finally got time to really dive into Grav Lev and really figure out what it's going to take to make it what we really want it to be. One of the first things we focused on with Grav Lev is this new specialized suspension system, which is a little bit like a car, but it's doubly disconnected from the bike to make it really feel like it's hovering. They're not going to bottom out, they're not going to bump into the ground, they're not going to crash off rocks and lose control, they're not going to go flying off into space. The turn friction for making maneuvers is improved, and we can also implement things like better height control, and that will have differences in the handling of the bike that you can feel a lot more than you used to be able to.
All right, the first thing I want to address is the fact that something like this is even being worked on by a member or members of a team that should be working on flight mechanics and physics and just things that have more of a purpose in the game right now than Grav Lev, because it really doesn't have one. First, I agree with you, but hear me out here. And we'll touch on it a bit towards the end of the segment. This appeared to be a little passion project for this developer. Like, that's just it. And I think where other stuff is probably way more complicated to solve, requiring way more people to solve, they found a quick and easy, possibly, solution to these Grav Lev issues, and why the hell not fix them for now, if it's easy? Second, these improvements are massive in comparison to what we had before. I would love to see scramble races come back, and, I found them fun as far as the scramble races went. The only good ones were the ones in the Dragonflies, and, just like to kind of maybe see that come back. Now, they didn't stop here. There were a couple of bigger changes that you might find cool.
So if you do big jumps off dunes on Daymar, the bike doesn't crash into the ground now when you get back to the ground. It much more aggressively stops itself and prevents itself from crashing. If you power off the bike or you get off the bike, the suspension will intelligently sort of relax the bike down. And similarly, when you get on the bike, it will softly ramp in the suspension so that the bike will sort of softly lift up and you're ready to go on your adventure.
So this sounds like hot dropping from a C2 is possible and might be cool hot dropping into Jumptown that way. I would like to see them hover in a landed position though, so when you're landed, they don't just touch the ground and land on the ground. They would kind of hover up a little bit, because I think the vibe that we all get from these type of vehicles is Star Wars, and Star Wars vehicles just stay hovered and you jump on them and then you go. And that just kind of took that away from me. But yeah, what do you guys think? I just kind of want that Star Wars speeder feel from these, and yeah, like to hear what you guys think. Now, this last clip is kind of what I think makes Star Citizen great.
It's been a personal hope of mine for quite some time that I've been able to do this rework, because Grav Lev just has such potential for such amazing moments. And I know when it's used, for example, in the Daymar Rally, it's just such a cool sci-fi vehicle, and it's been my wish for quite some time that we can make that experience, as good as it can get.
I referenced this as a passion project earlier, and this is why I say that. I really wanted to point that out, because as much as we look at the PvPers feedback maybe making the flight combat too hard or more difficult, and the less hardcore players making the game essentially pointless and too easy, the Daymar Rally is something this guy looked at, and it's a player-run event, and it inspired the developer to make something better and greater and great. And we all can have an impact like that for a lot of different projects in this game, and that's pretty cool. That's what makes Star Citizen really neat. Then they moved on to the Jumptown 2 featurette, and this is the third dynamic event to make it into the game, and they kind of explain what it entails here.
When Jumptown 2 activates, a mission will be distributed out to players. This mission comes in two varieties. One is the criminal side and one is the lawful side. If you are actively having a crime stat, you will see a notification popping up letting you know that Rudo has contacted you. He wants to sell you some information on a really lucrative drug opportunity. The big thing here is that when you go and collect these for Rudo, you will take those drugs and sell them at Grimhex. For the legal side of things, when you are confiscating that contraband, you are going to be taking them back to the lower Earth orbit station for that security company and selling it to their admin office.
Okay, I'll stop you there. Did you see it? You might want to go back and watch the part where they showed the mission details and pause, because there's zero reward on this mission. You know why? Because the cargo is the reward there. You go to the location and it just spits out cargo boxes. I initially got super excited because I thought this might have been like the start of cargo-based missions, but I was quickly disappointed after hearing this.
The general flow of the mission is as follows. You will see a notification popping up informing you that you have a mission available. When you accept that mission, you will receive two markers. One marker will be pointing you to a location where you can sell the drugs. The other marker will be pointing you to a drug lab where those drugs are being automatically produced every X amount of seconds. It's worth noting that you don't need to have a mission in order to interface with this event. It's just that these markers are the benefit of accepting the mission. During that time, everyone else on the server is also aware of this high-value location, and it is very likely that they will be landing and contesting you doing so.
So, from a mission design perspective and pushing the game forward, this event brought nothing new to the game that we haven't seen. It simply creates a mission marker at two locations for you and doesn't appear at this time to be related to any reputation or rewards based off of that rep. Nothing. With that said, Jumptown was never about those things. It was about insane profit, insane combat scenarios, and I hope this one will deliver, but we've been playing it, and so far I'm a little nervous on its ability to deliver on the nostalgia that was Jumptown. So, moving on, we are going on to other updates now, and we'll start out with the Odyssey Q&A, and I think they start out with the two most important aspects of the ship. Is it basically a mini Orion with its mining refining capabilities? And I'm pleased to report that it wasn't. I wish this was communicated much more clear, much earlier during the sale. It left way too much for the backers to imagine how this would work on what the ship can do and what the purpose of the mining laser was, which we now know is really secondary to other things that the ship can do. The next massive question was, how does it compare to its direct competition, the Carrack? I'm also pleased to report that, way too far into the sale, that this is in fact not the Carrack killer, and you are interested, if you're interested in jump points, and whatever the hell exploration is going to be, the Carrack is still probably going to be your ship. Lastly, people asked if there would be a snub or a ground vehicle that comes paired with the ship. And this is one of the more crazy answers to me, actually, as at this price, when every other Explorer cheaper than it comes with dedicated snub or a vehicle, I find this kind of interesting. But at the same time, I would rather them make the rest of the ships they need than some extras that would have to be made specifically for the Odyssey. In general, this was a typical CIG concept ship sale, it seems. Draw the pictures, name the price, figure out all the rest later. I went over the entire Q&A on my second channel, so link will be up here or here, I don't know which way it is. And so you'll get my first time reaction. I didn't see any of this up until that point, so you guys can check out that video. Then we had a sneak peek, which appears to be a Levski hospital, and the Luminalia celebration has begun. And it starts out with a screenshot contest where you'll get the Redeemer for first, Ares Inferno for second, Argo Raft for third, a greeting card contest, Valkyrie for first, Redeemer for second, 400i for third, and there's an advent calendar. So the first thing is really cool. It was the sweater from the ugly sweater contest from last year. They made and put it in the game for this year, and it's a physical item in the game, and then a forum badge. So that's up to today. We'll have to see what Mondays is. And then there are gifts in the game that you can find at all the landing locations, and they're selling for 1,000 per. And they're literally everywhere. And you can make a ton of money right now. So much for breaking the economy. So much for all the things that we did at Jumptown to make it better. When in actuality, we probably made it worse. And then put Luminalia gifts in here that are the exact opposite of what you said you would do. Then we went on to Lore Makers community questions. And I'm going to I'm going to talk about one question here. And it's about Pyro. And it was considered dead and lifeless before, but now it appears to change, and people want to know why. And they touch on the fact that in the old days, I don't know if a lot of people know this, so I think it's good to share, we were just going to be kind of sped down to landing locations that were locked off. We weren't able to move anywhere outside of them. That's in flight or on foot. And now we can go anywhere on a planet. So planets have to be more interesting than originally planned, and therefore Pyro had to change its kind of dead and lifeless and nothingness to unique and something to do. So that's a thing that people need to understand, because I think they've touched on this a lot before. Oh, CIG is going back on their word again, and it's just like, come on, dude. They're trying to make the game better and not shit. Why are you complaining? There are other things in this, though. Link will be in the description. Then subscriber armor. We have a heavy armor that's like a lot more cloth-like. I don't know, like almost like a bomb jacket kind of thing. The dark one is for $10 subs. The gold trim one that kind of looks like a Pico is for $20 subs. The gray one is for any sub to pick up. They're $12.50. I think they're cool, but again, the helmet either looks like a Pico or the stock one that's in game looks like a robot. So I'll probably match these with a different helmet, but the body parts look awesome. The ship of the month is a mole, and the exclusive pledge is the Connie and its variants. So that'll do it for this week's Week in Review. Again, I recorded this on Sunday, so if anything pops up Monday morning, I might have to have inserted that in. But again, thank you for watching, everybody, and we will see you next week. Appreciate it.